this is Emperor Nikolai. We are back with X3 Albion Prelude Enhanced Mod Collection. Well, whilst we were away, we actually went and made a bit of progress with the Xenon rank, but we also went and explored the universe a bit. And yeah, here we are. All these sectors right here. These are all pirate sectors. Like I said, this is a chain of pirate sectors. Trade ships go through here. Also, there's more sectors we've explored as well. And deeper in pirate territory we go. Like Guardian Star is a pretty major pirate sector. The more aggressive the pirates get. Like you may start seeing some aggressive pirates in these sectors. And here's some other sectors over here. This is not even. I don't think this is even half. This isn't even half the sectors in this game, by the way. Also, some of these sectors were added by Time of the Truth. Those that played Albion Prelude may see that. Like, for example, Waterfall of Patience, Price of Hesitance, the Treasury, Stone of Dreams, Scream, Chasm, the Guild. Also, another thing I did was I went and bought a Xenon H, which is a Xenon trade ship, TS. It is actually pretty well equipped for a trade ship, as well as has pretty decent shield bay. 2 slots for 200 megajoule shields. I'm basically going to use that for maybe a future trading purposes, or maybe just use it to gather wares that are dropped about by freighters and whatnot. Now, before we continue, I just realized something. I forgot to cover something kind of important, and it is ship classes. You see, the X series has a very special way they classified their ships. They use this very specific code letters for their ships. And here's all the ship classes, at least most, if not all of them. That are in vanilla. Also, one of the MO is actually a ship class that's added by Time of the Truth. We'll get into that later. But anyway, M-class ship. There's 2 types of main classes of ships: the M classes and the T classes. T classes are your trade class vessels. Your transport class vessels, and your M classes are your military ships, or your military class vessels. Well, there's also no TP here. Oh wait, actually the F is actually a TM class, not a transport personnel class. Well, we'll get into that actually. Anyway, let's cover the T classes first. The T classes are your transport classes. They come in 4 flavors. The TS, which is your small transport. Your TMs, which is your militarized transport. They typically can dock small fighter class vessels. We'll get to that when we cover the M's. And the TLs, which is your large transports, which are transports that are typically too big to dock at any station, but are used to transport station. Well, not every station, but they can dock at like equipment docks and shipyards, but they can't really dock at like commercial docks. So instead, they use like smaller ships to transport their wares. But these are the only ships. Well, typically these are the only ships that can carry carry stations or packages around, which are used to build stations. And the Xenon's main TL of choice is the IH. And Xenon, actually, the Xenon do not really have a TP. Understandably so, because they really have no purposeful one. Instead, they actually have a TM, which stands for military transport, and their TS, their main TS is their H. All these other things are just programs to put on your shop ships, or on your shop ships, which are the TLs. Now we're going to go over, and then there's also the TP, which is your personnel transport, which are used to carry mercenaries, marines, astronauts, slaves, typically boarding crews, really. Now we're going to go over and cover the M-class ships, which can range from, well, in Time of Truth's case, from M0 to M8. First, let's cover the fighters. Fighters range from M3 to M5, which M5 being the scout ships or light fighters, M4s being the medium fighters or interceptors, and M3s being your heavy fighter class vessels. And we are currently in the best heavy fighter of the Xenon fleet, the LX. And then there's the the interceptors, which are basically like in between the heavy fighter and the light fighter. Their Xenon's interceptor is the M, and Xenon's light fighter or scout ship is the N. Okay, now we're going to cover the big ships, which are the M6, M7, and M8. Now the M6 is the Corvette class vessel, which is just a bigger fighter class ship. I mean, bigger than the heavy fighter. Think of it as like a bigger heavy fighter. That's it can also be used for carrying. It can also go over and carry Marines typically, and maybe be used to board ships. The M7 is a frigate class, or frigate class ships, and they are basically the ship that is going to be the size before the huge ships. And the Xenon's Corvette, I mean not Corvette, but well, the Corvette of the Xenon is the P. Their best Corvette being the PX. Now the Xenon's frigate class vessels are the Q and QX, which are actually very dangerous out sector class vessels. And the QX being the best of the frigates. And then there's the M8, which is the smallest of the big ships, is the bomber. And the bombers, they typically wield very special torpedoes that are used, that can be really devastating against capital ships. They are about almost the size of a frigate. Or not frigate, but the size of a Corvette. Maybe even smaller at times. Now we're going to go over and cover the huge ships. The MO, well, we'll cover that last. The M1 and the M2. Well, the M1 and M2, I mean, the M1 classes are your carrier classes. They carry, they have docks for lots of fighters, typically. Like, for example, the J that Xenon has, it can dock 50 ships. Well, 50 fighters. I mean, also the Xenon and also Time of Truth also has variations of the J, the Sentinel, and the Vanguard. I don't really know. I think they have different, like, shield levels or something, or different speeds. I don't really know. Well, well, that's not really, important to discuss. Now, the M2s. They are your destroyer class ships. They also dreadnoughts that fall in this class, and a few Terran battleships fall under this class too. And now the Dread 8P or Albion Prelude adds a few dreadnoughts, which like the Boron Megalodon, and they fall under M2s. Now the K is a destroyer of the Xenon fleet. But yeah, the M2 is basically your destroyers, dreadnoughts, and light battleships or battle cruisers. Now, then there's the MO, which actually originally, the MOs actually, their classification is battleship, and there's actually Time of the Truth actually adds these ships to every race. Every race has an MO of their kind, but there's actually supposed to be a galactic law that actually has all Commonwealth races dismantle their MOs. Well, anyway, MO stands for Battleship or Supercarrier. Or flagships. I think that's the term I'm looking for. Well, the D, it's basically which is the Xenon's flagship. It actually has station containers where transport class, which means they can actually build stations, as well as has tons of defenses. Defenses and offensive capabilities as well. I don't know and the X is the same as well, although it's a little bit lighter, it seems. And then there's other special ships like the Goner Ranger, which is actually an unarmed ship. There's also special vessels like the Orbital Weapons Platform and Spacesuit. They're not really important to go over, although the Orbital Weapons Platforms, they typically are armed with a ton of missiles. And they're also armed with lasers and have hangar bays on them. But yeah, that pretty much covered, and I think they fall under the M1 class, I believe. Wait,
Ore mine M Gamma.
But anyway, that covers up ship classes. Now we're going to go over and continue on our progression with the Xenon Rink. And we're back. Well, anyway, it looks like the Argon has kind of had enough of me harassing their trade vessels. And have sent their Cerberus and
military Colossus,
which is their capital ships, which we have zero chance to stand in with this kind of ship. So we are going to just jump to a different pirate sector.
Entering system, Dana's chance.
Man, they got like okay, that actually looks... That looks like something from like Star Trek or Star Wars. What kind of ship is this? It's a weird looking ship. I mean, it looks Well, it's weird being in this game setting, but yeah, that definitely looks like the what is it, the SS Enterprise or something? Let me see what that is on the encyclopedia. I don't know if that's armed to the teeth or whatnot. Oh, here we go. The Federation Galaxy Classy, and it's in German, it seems, so, or Russian, it seems. So I don't know what it says. But yeah, that is a Terran ship, actually. Oh yeah, it says Terran on there. I don't know why I was looking for Argon. Also, why is Terran here? I mean, they're not even supposed to be in these sectors, or normally they don't even come to these sectors. I'm afraid to even go anywhere near that thing, because that thing is probably going to kill me. I wonder if I can scan it. No, it's going to jump anyway. I'm just going to wait for it to go through.
Teladi food transporter.
Well, at least I didn't have to deal with that.
Emergency. Pilot going gun crazy. Request help.
Attention, energy.
If you spare Teladi life, I give my ship.
Good. I'll spare. Well, actually, I won't. But I'm gonna go over and claim that. I'll claim that. Hopefully, the Argon doesn't destroy it when I bring it to Xenon 101.
Ship computer control transferred.
Orders. I'm gonna take that ship and dock it at Xenon 101. Hopefully, we can make it there.
Docking granted. Command accepted.
Now, where's the astronaut at?
Spacesuit. No aim. TerraCorp freight transporter.
TerraCorp, huh?
Target is now in firing range.
Vessel under attack. Require immediate assistance. Blowing the hold. Take it.
Attention, energy.
I'll see you on the other side. Ah!
Yeah, you'll see me on the other side, huh?
Boron high-tech transporter.
Oh my god, no. Wait, what? Wait, where's that at?
Gate Brennan's Triumph. Terran Adventure Tour.
How about no? Really don't want to be around that thing. I really don't know what's this thing's deal. Okay, who are you?
Pirate Nova Raider.
Sorry, I can't save you, dude.
Argon food transporter.
Looks like he might be targeting me, so I'm probably gonna go over and jump out.
Jump device charging at 10%.
Anyway, we didn't really make much progress because we are just getting attacked by these capitals.
Entering system Nopilius' memorial.
See you next time.